Hi everybody, welcome to this tutorial. The cup we're going to be making today is this Hocus Pocus cup, and this is what I like to call my Witchy Woodgrain. So I'm going to show you in this video how to achieve this look or something similar to it, and you guys can really just have fun with it and play with it however works best for you. And I'm going to show you how to do all of this distressing and how to apply the decal on here as well. I'll also have linked in the description the inks, where I get my inks from, and my supplies, and also where I get my tumblers from. And I am doing this on a 20-ounce modern curve. So this is what we're going to showcase today. So bear with me, this is my first tutorial. And if you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below. So the first thing we're going to start off with is just a base coat of the solid white. I prefer the satin finish. It's just what I think works best for me. You can use whatever kind of finish you want to. I just find that depending on the different types of finish, you get a different look on your tumblers. Like if you were to do this on over epoxy, you'd get a much less texturized finish. So I find the satin finish works best for me, and I use the Rustoleum 2x white primer, I think it's called. So that's what I start as a base coat. I sanded it, alcoholed it, prepped it just like normal. I did not epoxy over this, so this is your satin right on here. And then what we're gonna do is I have a little cup of rubbing alcohol right here just to clean my brushes off with. I have another little dish because I make the green that I actually use. And the colors that we're going to be using is Calabazza Orange from Jaquard. We're going to be using Mantilla Black. Sorry, these are really gross looking bottles. I use them quite a bit. Sunbright Yellow is what we're going to use to make our custom green. There is actually some silver in the original cup, so we're going to be using the silver. You guys can kind of see I just kind of go in and brighten it up a little bit in there. So there's a couple streaks in there. We're going to use Passion Purple. And then we are going to use this Tim Holtz Limeade. Now, if you don't want to make your own custom green, I actually don't even think this was the original green that I used, because I did make this cup probably over a year ago, and it just sat on the shelf because it never sold. So I'm pretty sure I used a different green in that one, but this is very similar to the green that's actually on here. So if you don't want to make your own, you can just use this one, or you can custom make it. I personally like to custom make my inks because then it's more custom to my business and it's harder for people to exactly replicate, if that makes sense. So then we're also gonna do we're gonna have a couple of chip brushes. These are just 1-inch chip brushes. You can get them right at Lowe's. I get mine in bulk at Harbor Freight. You can get a box for like $8, I think. And then I just give them a nice little haircut. So I just make sure that all of the little straggler pieces are trimmed off the top, so you have a nice smooth bristle. If you don't, this just gives it a little bit more of a brush stroke look versus a more defined wood grain look. So that's kind of how I got a lot of this texture in here, which you'll see once we actually go ahead and start doing the tumbler. And I think that is about it, and we are ready to go. So another fun thing you can do too with this technique, you can actually do what I call a rainbow puke. And it's really, really fun. This is actually my first design. This was actually one of my first cups I ever made. And it's very similar to this one, but I use the exact same techniques on this one and just some different colors to get this look. So if you guys like this look and want me to do another video on this, I can do a second tutorial on this rainbow puke cup as well too. So just let me know in the comments if it's something you guys would want to. I can make another one. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our lighter colors. So I'm actually going to start with the Limeade and then see if I want to tint it down a little bit or make it a little bit more limey. So we're going to start with the green first, and then we're going to go in with the orange. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sporadically just kind of place these to get whatever kind of effect or look that you want. And don't be afraid if you mess up, it's okay. It's just rubbing alcohol or alcohol inks. So if you mess up, just put a little alcohol on your brush. You can thin it right back out. So it's really easy to fix if you mess up on it. And don't forget to do the bottoms as well. I tend to forget to do the bottoms. So we are just gonna kind of go ahead and start. So this is actually almost the same color as that. So we're just gonna do the Limeade, and that way you guys can have it replicated a lot easier, so you don't have to custom mix it. And then I just kind of add a little at a time. I kind of tilt the cup to get it to go downward. So then if you want to get the layer effect, so you can kind of see how it's darker around the edges, what you can do is just keep dabbing the ink. And then I just kind of blow on it as I'm dragging it, and it will give that nice dimensional color. And then we're just going to go up at the top. And you're just going to kind of randomly place these. Also, I find that blowing on it, see how you get two almost different colors. So depending on the desired color you want, just keep layering it. And you can always go back over it too. If you want some darker, some lighter, you could just kind of do whatever you want with it. Alcohol inks I find are very forgiving. Also, I find that if you kind of blow on it as you're doing this too, it stops the ink from really running down the cup if you're a little bit messier. I know not everybody has the same creativity level, and that's totally fine. Alcohol inks are pretty forgiving, so if you mess up on it, you can generally fix it, which is pretty nice. So if you want to do like a middle one, there's really no rhyme or reason to the pattern. Then you get kind of cool dimensions. Get some cool effects. Now, and I also turn my brush this way and go like this versus like that because I want thinner brush strokes. It's really a personal preference, but that's just how I prefer to do it. So then you can do multi-texture and just come in here and go the opposite way. And it makes this really cool effect right there. Now, I'm not a pro in any way, but just kind of take your time and just kind of get it the color and dimension that you want. It's all right. I tend to be a little OCD when it comes to my inks sometimes. If you want to add a little bit more, tilt your cup a little bit more, it's going to run down, and just spread it. You can get this awesome dimension. So you see how this chip brush is giving it this nice dimension. I'm sorry about my lighting. I'm not really set up that well for tutorials yet. So then we're just gonna keep putting these in here. And move on to the next color. Okay, so now that we've got our green, I'm going to set this brush aside because I don't want to mix it with the orange. So then we're going to go in with our orange. And again, this is the Calabazza Orange. And then we are going to lay some of these. Now, I tend to go a little sparingly with this one, just because I don't want it too dark. And you can always add more if you want it. So then we're just going to do this exact same thing, just like this, and just kind of blend it over into the green. And you're going to get this kind of blend effect. As you can kind of see right there, it's starting to kind of get a little bit darker. That's totally fine. And if you carry it over into the orange too, or into the green, you can kind of see the brush strokes will kind of carry over into the green, so it'll give it that texturized look. And I did the bottom like that. I put a sticker on the bottom, so you're not gonna actually see a lot of that. You're just gonna see the carryover. So that's why I just kind of crossed it like that. So the bottoms don't really make much of a difference to me. And then you're just going to kind of go in. Okay, so now that we've got the green and orange done, now we're going to go in with our passion purple, and we're going to add some purple to this. Now, just remember, it's a darker color. If you put too much of it on at once, it can overpower your brighter colors. So kind of go sparingly with this, and especially the black, which I'll mention again when I get into that part of the video too. So just kind of go sparingly, and I changed brush to a clean brush. And then you're gonna add your purple. Oops. So you can kind of see I added a little bit too much in there, but that's okay, because I'll just blend it all out. Just make sure you get the rim and just drag it. And then you're gonna get this effect. Okay, so now that we've got the purple all done, I'm actually going to go in with the green again, and I'm just going to kind of touch these up. I'm going to use the same green brush. And I'm just going to add a little bit more green. and just kind of pull this out again. So we're just gonna add a bit more green. And then some of this green is actually gonna make its own little custom color because you're pulling the lighter color over the darker. And then you're gonna get this really cool dimensional effect. So that's just kind of what I'm doing. And then you're gonna kind of get these custom colors in here. And if you have to wipe your brush off, just put it right in the rubbing alcohol and clean it off. And then just take a paper towel and then just go right there. And you're just gonna take off all that darker color so your brush, now you remember your brush is in alcohol, so you won't have to, it'll spread it a little bit differently now because you added the alcohol, but that's okay. Then you can just go in here and go right back to it. And then you get these really cool dimensional colors like right there. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with our black. So this you wanna be super, super sparingly with, and I use the same brush as my purple. So it has a little bit of purple on there still. And this black is very, very strong. So it can be very overpowering. So what I do is I'm actually just gonna put this a couple dabs in my container, as you can see in there, because I really don't want a lot of it, but I want enough of it that it's gonna actually come through. Actually, I do need a little bit more of it. Okay. I must be almost out of my black. So then you're just gonna go in and you got your black. Okay, so now we're gonna go in that we've done all the other colors, and whatever's left white, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do silver, and then if I want a little bit more brushy strokes with the black, I'll go in with the black. So we're gonna go with a clean brush, and what we're gonna do is give it a little haircut and a nice little trim. Just make sure it's even, easy as that. And then we're just gonna go right in here. Make sure you shake it right with the silver. And it's okay if it gets a little messy, it gives it more texture. So we're gonna go right in with the silver and then just kind of stroke it on over to give it a little bit more dimension and texture. And just kind of add it in wherever you want. And this is just to give it a nice little shimmer effect, basically. And to just kind of break up any of the dark colors. But when you move it, it's going to give it a nice little effect. Okay, so now that the silver's done, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back in with some of the black and just kind of touch up a little bit. So this is what it looks like so far. Very similar. The colors are a little bit different. I did use a different green, but you can see the finish from the unfinished. So we're just gonna go back in and give it a little bit more brush texture. And I'm actually just gonna take this and I'm just gonna dab the top of the ink. And then we're just gonna do just like this. And just give this a little bit more distressing. So it looks a little bit more wood grainy. And I'm getting barely any black on here at all. So then what it's gonna do is it's gonna give that nice texture look around the rim. And then we're just gonna go in and do it right on the base. Add a little bit of alcohol just to moisten the brush up a little bit. Go back in. And that's what we're gonna do right on the base. So you can see on the base, it kind of just gave a little bit of texture, not too much, but just a little bit of distressing. Okay. So this is going to sit overnight, then we're going to put our first layer of epoxy. So I hope you enjoyed and liked this first part of our video. There will be probably one more, there'll be at least one more part. So subscribe to this channel and you can see part 2 when it comes out.